14 of our Tay of Tantric Arts for Women by Milka DeVos. And we are on part 14. So we ended last time with integration of the Dantian, the generation of the life force, generating love, generating light, and what else we have? Refining of the chi, benefits of the microcosmic orbit practice. And we're going to continue along that with the longevity practices. So the conscious circulation of chi in this way plays an important role in longevity. As we age, our energy tends to polarize, cold sinking and heat rising. Excess heat rises can lead to mental agitation and heat conditions, while excess coldness sinking can lead to weakness, digestion fire, and stiff joints, for example. The warm current meditations, another name for the microcosmic orbit, blends these hot and cold tendencies and makes us feel more balanced and youthful. Also, energetically speaking, cold can be referenced to lower energies. You tend to feel cold if you feel a lower energy, and heat can come often when you're doing hands-on healing. You get heat coming through the hands. People feel that sense of the heating up or feeling cool when there's a shift in the energy. Energy points and pumps of the microcosmic orbit. Imagine the energy points and pumps as if they were jets pumping the earth's sexual waters of Jin. Remember, we spoke about the Jin energy and how that's the lower back. From the lower back, that's the Jin, the lower Dentian. I think my neighbour's having a few issues with her little baby, so if you can hear a baby in the background, bless her. So where are we? Imagine the energy points. I'll just start again. Imagine the energy points and pumps as if they were jets, pumping Earth's sexual waters of Jin along with your own internal resources up through the body, where they overflow at the crown and flow like a water down the front half. So remember last week, if you're watching part 13, I'll refer you to that video if you haven't, or part 1. So coming up, coming over and coming down, and obviously it can go in either direction, and I reference that that's where the joining is in the figure of 8 energy when you're visualizing during sex with your partner. You get both of you to visualize that. If you pump water up a 34-story building, the 24 vertebrae, which is what we've got, the spine and all those bits going up, it would explode at the top with the pressure of a geyser, having vibrate it, having multiple pumps along the route. However, ensuring safe ways to regulate the internal pressure, the pump helps more the dense sexual energy upwards against gravity and through the vertebra. This is why when it comes to tantric energy, they speak about that this isn't something you mess around with, you play with. If you get any be all section, it's not. This is an extremely dangerous energy practice if you do not know what you're doing, because the energy is quite potent. It creates life. So you mustn't mess around with it, and you need to be knowing, hence the explaining with this book, step by step, what you're doing. So I'm going to repeat that again, as they say that when, for me as well as much for you, when we're learning, when we're listening, listen 3 times, watch the video 3 times when you're trying to get that to go in. If you pump water up a 24-story building the 24 vertebrae, it would explode at the top with the pressure of a geyser. Having multiple pumps along the route, however, ensures safe ways to regulate that internal pressure. The pump helps move the dense sexual energy up against gravity and through the vertebra, so up the spine. These pumps are also refined stations that purify the crude raw energy into a more delicate essence of a higher center than by bringing the energy down the front and refining essence in integrated into the whole body. If you do not refine the energy sufficiently, you can end up with excess raw energy in an intricate instrument of the brain where it can lead to migraines or kundalini crises, which is what happens when someone goes into a kundalini crisis. The 14 points of the microcosmic orbit are described below. Note that they are listed in the order of the fire cycle. The order would be reversed with the water cycle. So fire goes up, the water flows down. Oh, sorry. So fire, we start at the navel, the center. Location. Characteristics. The umbilical cord is the place where you access your original chi. So when we talk about this in class, I talk about the cycle, and the visuals that come through are like utilizing this as like a crystal, the crystalline structure, especially as we move into the new human and what my guidance is telling me. Um, so those crystals in the brain are going to relate to that crystal down here. There's the link, that's that bridge, that's when you are full sovereignty. So it doesn't happen overnight. It needs to happen slowly for a reason, because it's acclimatizing to energy. It's a bit like otherwise think of a thing in a pot just boils. It's slow. You want it to slowly, or is it more like having the bends when someone's a diver and they're coming up from very dense energy? They slowly come up. Otherwise, it's too much for the brain to handle. They can go crazy, and that does happen to some people. So the umbilical cord is the place where you access the original chi, and the center where you can digest your life. It is an acclimated it is an alchemical I will say it again. He says three times. Alchemical kitchen. The navel point is the starting and ending point of the microcosmic meditation. So energy can be collected and stored here without ill effects. The organ in the belly are hollow and are designed to store nutrients, and energetically they store the chi as well of those nutrients as they're processing, is what my guidance is just saying. And chi, like a gas tank, you don't want to store energy in the brain or heart because you would cook them, because they're fire related in the Chinese. The fire is in the heart. So you would cook them. When open, the navel point balances and centers you. There is a sense of abundance from the universal through this energetic umbilical cord. When it is closed, there is sloppy, picky, destructive behavior. So this is the conception vessel that we're referring to. You've got the navel, and you've got the heart, you've got your solar plexus, you've got your third eye, you've got the hundred thing, it's the crown, the governing vessel. When you go down the back, you've got jade pillow, great hammer, spirit path, spirit center, gate of life, our Ming Man, which is at the back. The spinal center is the adrenal, and you've got the wing points, the spirit path. These are like your winged energy as they fly out. Then you've got the dorsal pump, which is the great hammer, C7, and cardinal pump, the jade pillow, which is like behind this bridge that we bang the drum on. What else? The meeting of the yin is the pericardium, pericardium. Equilibrium middle. The other one that I get you to bang on a lot in class is the equilibrium middle, which is behind the knees, and then you've got the extra point, which is on the knees, the heading, and then a bubbling spring, kidney one, which is on the soles of the foot, which we also slap also a lot in class. So we work with a lot of these points. We tap a lot of these points. So going down, if you're going down from third eye, you've got the throat chakra, the jade pivot, you've got your heart, which is they call it the spirit palace, solar plexus, they call it the yellow court, the navel center, spirit gateway, and then the gate of origin, the ovary palace as well. So giving you all the points around that. Anyway, so we're going to start with the ovary palace. Hang on, where do we get? Yeah, which is your ovaries. This is the sexual center. Gon Yen or Ren 4, four-figured whips. It's four fingers width below the navel. So we meditate so my navel's sort of here, it's sort of four fingers, and not my fingers, but four fingers, your fingers. So depending on how big your body is, it's relative to whoever's body it is, four fingers of the person. So from your own navel, not four fingers of mine, of someone else's. So creating the triangle with your hands, thumbs, touch the navel. So I often do this with you in class. We have, just to show you, we have the belly button and we create that. I often get you to do that, Will. And when we do that, we're accessing this point that we're talking about. So when we run through, and obviously this isn't something I learned, it's just something that came through that I was naturally doing, because at the end, what do you call it? The guidance that was showing me was giving me this information before I'd even been learning about it. So, and then I was like, oh, I've been doing that. So naturally, it's in there. All of this stuff that I'm telling about, you probably are like, oh, I kind of do that naturally, or I do that. You might be finding characteristics. Where are we? So back to touching navel, where the Indian. Hang on. Create a triangle of your hands and your thumb touching the navel, where the index fingers is at the uterus, under the your finger, you of your ovaries. In men, the sperm palace is located at the point of the middle pole, Ren 3, one thumb width up from the pubic bone. So I can't show you that because I'm not a man. Anyway, characteristics, the ovaries, most of the people on here are women anyway, so I'm assuming lots of you, well, you may be some men. So the ovary palace characteristics is a meeting of the kidney, the liver, the spleen channels. The womb is your powerhouse. It contains a lot of intuitive and will to manifest and create impulses. When the sexual center is open, there is a sense of being connected to creative, passionate energy. When it is closed, it is hard to enjoy life. There is a sense of self destructive, negative, and listlessness. It is possible to become allergic to your own energy, which can amplify negativity. So we need then, when that happens, to cross any stuck patterns, which is why we do Qigong daily, like brushing our teeth. It's energy hygiene. You want those energies to be flowing. You want the fire flowing. You don't want too much fire. You don't want too much water. You want the balance. So the I can hear my today. It is retrograde, so excuse me. The gate of life and death. Located at the perineum, between the vagina and the anus. These characteristics are the perineum center connects the soul and the ground. So often I will say Imagine your tailbone in a meditation, imagine your tailbone flowing down energy to the ground and grounding. That's what we're doing. We're connecting that because those are the points that are connected with the grounding, the rooting energy, and the lower dantian, part of the lower dantian or lower chakras in yogic practice. So the pericardium centers the soul and the ground and has a close relationship with earth energy. Note that the energy can escape from this point when the lower gate is not energetically sealed. When this point is open, there is a feeling of being grounded, stable, and peaceful. You feel like you belong on earth and that you are supported. When it is closed, there is a feeling of being insecure, fickle, and lonely. You may feel as if you don't belong here and you may fear change. Then you've got the sacral pump, the door of immortality. Location of this pump is activated by squeezing the yoni and the anus, basically pelvic floors. This one that we were doing this. If you were doing this live, if you're watching this live, we were doing it in last month. It was in the energy report to be doing this. The coccyx, the tailbone, tucked under slightly and opens the sacral hiatus, opening a little trap door into the spine. Characteristics here of the sacrum means sacred bone. It is the door that connects us with the sacred earth, the center from which you can pro propel earth force up through your body and the sacrum into the rudder of your boat, helping to steer the energy where you want it to go. The Taoist principle of movement is essentially as follows. Life force is rooted in the feet, propelled by the sacrum and expressed by the hands. That's what manifestation means, party with the hands. The sacrum is a good place to store solar energy, which will warm the sexual palace from behind. So you see the inner sun practice, which we'll go into separately when we get to that. I think we're yeah, we'll come to that one. We'll read that when we get to page 118. When the sacrum point is open, you enjoy life. It provides momentum for life and helps us the past as a resource. Just as the animal tail provides balance, so does this center. When it's open, there is a potential to draw Kundalini energy up the higher centers from continuing to through consciousness through all states, so walking, dreaming, and deep sleep. This portal makes it possible for Shakti power to rise and merge with Shiva. The consciousness pole as your crown is illuminating the body and the mind. When this point is closed, the past is a prison and unconscious fears and hopelessness may arise. So this is where you can tell whether you're stuck, depending on where you are with your energy and what you're feeling in your emotional field. So the kidney point, or the Ming Man, which we call the door of life, this is where we do our knocking in class. We located this point is directly behind the navel at the back of the waist. Characteristics of the Ming Man is the moving chi between the kidney that provides balance for rest of the body. It is often used as a venting point if someone has a panic attack or energy division like extreme emotion, shaking, so too much energy in the head. Hold this point to give stabilizing and support. Again, why we tend to weave that into our practice. When the door of life is open, there is a connection to source, to chi. The instincts are intact and you are able to inherit the gifts from your ancestors. So it's associated with our ancestral chi and our genetic lineage. The point has a sense of openness, generosity, abundance, and gentleness. When it is closed, however, there is a feeling of imbalance and a particular fear of being taken advantage of. Old fears may return, may be arising around that time. I am ad-libbing as well here. So the adrenal pump. The pump is directly behind the solar plexus at T11 on the spine. The characteristics of the adrenal glands, so I sometimes get you to knock the adrenals as we do this knocking up and down, so between the door of life and the adrenal pump. The adrenal glands are a body's alarm system, triggering hormones that help us respond to crisis. However, the adrenals are easily abused, especially by coffee and tobacco, which artificially trigger the alarm system and exhaust the adrenal energy. Then the energy is not there when you need it. The adrenal pump is the place where the upper and lower body links. It is the place to project the power of legs up through the arms. When the adrenal pump is open, there is a feeling of personal power. You feel energetic and confident, able to sense your individuality and uniqueness. The pump activates the heart. When it's closed, there is a feeling of being hyper, listless, and fatigued. So overactive. The wing point or the Shinto spirit path is located at T5-6, the back door of the heart chakra between the shoulder blades. So we activate this point quite often. I get you to do things in class that activates that. It's between the shoulder blades. Its characteristics, this is where the wings of your heart extend, you know, the energetic part of the Merkaba on an energetical in terms of sacred geometry. So it governs how you are flying into your spirit path and your highest destiny. We often don't focus too much on the point because it can overheat the heart. When the wing point is open, it serves as a portal for receiving inspiration and love. You can embrace life and be socially connected. This area can help you feel free, like the heart with wings. When it is closed, emotions can get stuck here. Often it closes when there is heartbreak and you want to prevent further wounding. When you want to put like a wall around the heart, or there's a sense of you've been completely hurt and you're kind of withdrawing, that's when that's closed to that energetically. The dorsal pump is the greater hammer, is located at C7. It's a big bone or dorsal predominantly at the base of the neck, directly behind the throat here. Characteristics of this point is sometimes called the hugging point. From here, energy moves into the arms and hands. It is a hub of tendons and yang arm meridians. When the dorsal pump is open, communication is expressed like a caricature of someone who speaks with dynamic arms gestures like this. So give you something to remember it. So the dorsal pump is open. Communication is expressed like the characteristics of someone speaking with dramatic arm gestures. This point, it enables us to embrace each other with our humanity. You can embrace life and share openly about yourself. When it is closed, there is a denial, a feeling of not fitting in, and the likelihood of being entrenched in your patterns. Stubbornness can show up here if someone who does not embrace change, e.g., redneck, is got brackets red. Sorry, that's why it's referred to as a redneck. Okay, carnal pump. I've never heard that term before, but that's what it says in the book. That's not from me. That bit's from the book. I mean, to make that perfectly clear, because that can be deemed as being critical. Anyway, carnal pump, the mouth of God point, the jade pillow. The location is C1. This is occupoint, base of the skull. So this is here. This point is opening up by lightly tucking in the chin in, or pressing G326, the end of the governing vessel, under the nose above the lip, which is where we use this in EFT, the tapping point. Pressing the tongue on the roof of the mouth, you connect. Also helps open this pump, which is why in meditations you will hear me and others say to put your tongue behind your teeth and this will connect. So, energetically, where are we? The pump conducts the energy and the cerebral fluid up into the brain. When the carnal pump is open, inspiration can receive from the spinal spiritual world. The back of the brain controls involuntary functions like breathing and heart rhythm. So when it's open, you can spontaneous and respond to your intuition. You can channel your rational mind. When it's closed, there is a sense of burden and suffocation. Mine's been way open for a long time. In fact, just to insert here, it's a personal note. When I first had visions, I had a protection of someone putting the gold, literally like a golden light, before lockdown happened in my throat, and it was just before the channeling started to flow, as if they were kind of energetically clearing this golden energy around that spot, ready for me to be completely open and flowing in that way. Because for me, it's, and most of us, I think, feminine tend to go from here and down and then opening those energies out. But we're talking as we're going up. So the crown, the pineal point, the crown of the head. Hang on, did I miss a bit? Let's just skip back for a minute. When the carnal point is open, inspiration can be received from the spinal world, from the spiritual world. The back of the brain controls involuntary function like breathing and heart rhythms. So it's open, you can be spontaneous and respond to intuition. You can channel your rational mind. When it's closed, there is a sense of burden and suffocation. No, I didn't, but it's always good to repeat. So the crown and the pineal point, pineal gland here, 100 meetings. The crown of the head, it's located as the seat of original spirit. The point is a main receptor that serves as the inner compass. It is the wisdom and direction point, allowing you to know where your spiritual home is, like a homing pigeon, and to have direction from lifetime to lifetime. The higher practices, the spirit can leave through the center at will. When the crown point is open, there is a connection to your highest guidance. It helps you see auras, the light. When it's closed, there are lots of delusions, illusions, headaches, erratic mood swings, and victimized feelings. So if you're feeling in the victimized, that sense that that point is closed and you're not connected to your divine spirit. Not. So third eye, the master gland, our crystal palace, is referred to here. The location is the center of the forehead between the eyebrows. The pituitary gland is known as the crystal palace that reflects light from the cosmos into the body, image light reflection off of the prism inside of the head, reflecting rainbow light into the body. This controls tower networks, the pineal, pituitary and the hypothalamus, and the thymus glands here. The master glands, the active sexual and growth hormones, and governs water metabolism. When the third eye is open, there is a sense of purpose through through your wisdom eye, your intuition becomes clear and you know what is good for you from moment to moment. When it's closed, there is a sense of indecision, the mind wanders, and it is directionless. So the throat center is located in the dip at the base of the throat between the collarbone. The characteristics of the throat is in a center of communication and dreams. When this point is open, there is a flow of expression and a greater lucidity in dreams. We are able to communicate through our creative voice. When it is closed, there is a feeling of being choked up and unwilling to change. You quite often, this is why we say when we're working with affirmations, to hold and say you're willing to change, to feel healing energy to that area to open. Oh, little flying bits all around. Keep going up my nose, excuse me. So then the heart center, located in women, 2 fingers width above the lower tip of the sternum. The characteristics. The heart is a seat of joy, respect, and surrender, and is the home of the spirit. It is where you point when you point to yourself. When the heart is open, there is a feeling of honor, love, respect. You are connected to your truth and you are of who you are. When it's closed, there is a feeling of being under attack, sorry for yourself, unloved, and incapable of love. So then you can tell which one you fit into. The solar plexus is located halfway between the sternum and the navel. There is a complex of nerves, lymph, blood vessels, and energy channels here. It is your moving center. If you made a cross of arms reaching upward and the legs reaching downward, there would be a cross at the solar plexus. What they mean by that, if you make a cross, it comes across. Sorry, like that. So coming down with the legs out, so protuberant man, so that it would come down and down. Oh, nosy. Characteristics, where are we? Plexus. When this point is open, there is a feeling of personal power, self-control, freedom, and courage. There is an awareness of the space around you and your personal boundaries. There is a sense of feeling open and trusting. When it's closed, there is a sense of anxiety, worry, and self-doubt. Circulating chi in the microcosmic orbit. We're moving on to next. So yeah, how we got? We're on half an hour. I'm trying to keep. I think we'll save that to next time. So next time we will look at circulating chi in our microcosmic orbit and how we do that with the feeling the chi, the water cycle, not feeling the chi, what to do when you're not feeling the chi, and a variety of microcosmic orbit in the palace, spinning the dragon pearl, and the microcosmic orbit, absorbing the energy generated by your circulation and your practice. We'll save that for part 15 next time. Thank you for joining me. Love and blessings.